Hello, hello, hello. Another week of divine vibes coming from us today. And today it's week 17. And we're talking about shifting energy today and being aware of the distractions in our lives on a daily basis. Now, just before I came on the call with the sisters, I was just talking about how, we go on in life, everything is energy, and then we kind of hit a pit, we kind of hit some kind of shitstorm, shall I say, but it's all energy. And what happens is, if we've ever suffered with any kind of trauma, especially childhood trauma or anything that comes up, we're expecting it just to come and go, because that's what energy does. But we have to be present for that energy. And sometimes it doesn't just shift just like that. It takes time. But being present and being now means we're giving it that space to flow through our body. And it may be turbulent at times. I can remember a Chinese saying or something where everything is like water. So everything is like water, and we must allow it to flow. Even when we get the boulders and the stones, does the water ever stop flowing? No. So think about that. Think about that as we talk about this energy that we all have. Everything is energy. So regardless of that, I don't even know if I introduced us properly, but it's the Divine Cuppa. It's week 17. I'm Suzie Wellstead, emotional wellbeing coach and author of You Are Enough. And I'm going to introduce the rest of us sisters because I just went off on a tangent, but that's life. So without further ado, Vanessa, introduce yourself.
Hi, greetings. Oh, thank you so much, Susie Sunshine. That was a beautiful introduction. Yes, my name is Vanessa. I'm a lifestyle coach for mums, and I support women to help you to really, help yourself in lifting your confidence in key areas of your life. And yeah, the topic goes with distraction is going to be very interesting today because not only do I have my little one, Zenta, which our regular viewers will be used to either seeing or hearing him. But I also have my grandbabies in the living room. So I've got two beautiful granddaughters. They are actually being really well behaved in the living room, but Santa's being a bit clingy. So yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Hi,
And
I'm Layla. Oh, sorry.
I was just about to say, that's a lovely Layla.
Thank you. I'm Layla. I'm still alive. Everything else is a bonus, so I'm glad to be here.
Can I just come back in before we get started about distractions? So we set our intentions before the program. We've done our blessing, and I normally get the cards ready. Okay, but then I've pulled a card for myself, which I will share with you in a moment rather. But I've actually done the cards ready, whereas we normally pull them in the show. So yeah, I am distracted already, but I am here and I'm present. As much as you're going to see the camera going on and off because of the little ones in the background.
So let's start off the show, Vanessa. It is, like you said, all about shifting energy and dealing with distractions. So I guess
Should we start with the energy shift first? See,
yeah.
because obviously we've all come, we've had the new moon. The new moon went into Leo. We had the powerful energy download from the Lionsgate portal. Personally, I know I benefited from that because what I have been doing in the week in terms of my focus, my energy, I know it was about manifestation and setting your manifestations, but I felt the work I was doing in the week, I was just so in the zone. So obviously I've set the intention, the manifestation is now down to divine order, which was the card that I pulled for myself. Susie said, pull a card for yourself, but it was divine order. So I'll tell you about that shortly. But what happened on Friday is I personally took an energy shift within myself, even though I was still productive, it wasn't with the same enthusiasm, I would say. And then I noticed that within our Telegram group, there were other comments coming from some of the women saying that they felt different within themselves. So I thought it would be interesting to talk about how energy changes, and what your take is on that, please.
Yeah, can I come in? I'll come in with that because I've had a bit of a sort of not an off week, but just haven't really felt myself kind of thing. And one of the concepts that came about is we're all holding space for each other, as in across the globe in different areas and that kind of thing, where one's maybe feeling quite elevated and energetic, and others are going through, a clearing and a expansion in another way. So it's like, it comes back to those cycles, doesn't it? And I think it is just a matter of being in tune with yourself again, isn't it? And just giving yourself those space when you do get to those points to just let yourself process what you need to process without judgment, and just work through it. So yeah, there's definitely a lot energetic wise going on in the world. It's just rolling with the flow.
I know the Schumann is it the resonance that's been very high, so that's actually reflecting a positive shift in energy for us. So I don't know if that has an impact on us as well.
I think so. I think different people may experience it in different ways. Like some with an elevated energetic could feel it as a type of anxiety, like sort of just a lot of movement. I think it's just about each being in tune with themselves and how they process it. And again, I think it would just be about where you are as well generally and what's going on around you at the time, because everything sort of interacts and has an effect and influence on everything else. So that's just my take on it.
I love that, Layla, because if you think about it, what's been going off in the last year and everything, we are more aware of energy. We are totally more aware of it. And energy is everything from the words we speak to the people we meet, to the behaviors we have, to habits. And, it's sometimes really difficult to pinpoint where your energy seems to be going off, because subconsciously we're picking up stuff all the time. And we never hear about grounding ourselves, check in with yourself. How am I feeling? What are we doing? What can I do today? What's going to help me? And that's what we need to focus on, because at Vibrate Higher, as you know, we love high vibe topics. We love talking about connecting, and connecting with yourself is so important, especially when you've got this I don't want to say global attack, but there's so much, because it's fighting with the truth of who we are. And most of us are feeling that we're not belonging here because it's going against our own energy, our own truth of what we believe to be true. And yet, quietly, even if people do not believe that everything is energy, there is a huge faith in there. There is a belief in there, because sometimes that's where I waver, that there's no belief, there's no faith in what we are doing or what we are doing. Yet there is a huge belief, because that's what keeps us going. That's what's keeping us here. That's what's keeping us going. And there is a lot of turbulence in this energy, where we do feel that we're going against ourselves. And I believe that is where the huge distraction keeps pulling us in to see, are we going to stay with what we believe to be true, or are we going to waver off? And it's so easily done, especially with families, especially with connection. And like I said, subconsciously, we're picking up all of this vibe, all of it.
Yeah, I agree. There is a lot going around, and I mean, like even now, I'm feeling quite emotional for no reason. Like I feel like I just cry, like with no real reason for it. So it's like, there's a releasing that's going on. There's a lot around us to process, and like you say, it's both on the information, the energetics, the dynamics. It's a place of courage. So like you say, tested, it's like so much is coming all together in one go, and it does just come back to that. I find the breath and staying centered, staying grounded, things like having a wonderful support network as well, people to support each other, just having those things to keep us, you know, at a level, and knowing ourselves, knowing to sense into ourselves and know when it is time to take time out, or to, you know, focus work, or whatever's going to work.
And I'm just going to say, Layla, that remember, being present allows the energy to flow through. And sometimes it's not the best. You know, when you've got your tears, when you want to scream, when you want to shout, we've got to do it, because that's when you transform and transmute it into where you want to go. But we hold back thinking it's us or something, but it's the energy around you. We need to transmute it, transform it, so it goes into that flow again. But we need to remember, in the present moment is so powerful. And I know a lot of people don't get it and think, oh, yeah, dabba, dabba, dabba. But it's not. The now is where the power is.
Okay, so I'm going to come in because I've just had to laugh my way through this. I don't know if it's because we said about distractions, because Hunter's really gone out of his way to make sure that he's got me up and down the chair. The other thing that I wanted to say, because when I turned the screen off, I could hear what you were saying, glimpses of it. It's very interesting that I'm glad actually that we've chosen Nature Week this week within the Telegram group. So for those of us that have had time to be outside, I mean, there was one day this week that I actually did a meditation. It was only 5 minutes, but it was just so beautiful to do a 5-minute meditation, guided meditation out in nature, and just feel the energy of nature as well, because it's something that I know a lot of us, maybe because we get so busy in our life, you think, oh gosh, I haven't been for a walk today, or I haven't done this and that. You know, yesterday I didn't have an opportunity to go out in nature, but I was with nature in my garden. I did my earthing, so I was walking around my garden with no shoes on, and said my affirmations in the garden as well. And so I think that connection to nature during these times when there is an energy shift. Sorry, darlings, can you go in there, please? Because I'm doing a recording. So when we do have these distractions and the energy is changing, I think just spending time with nature is so powerful. I just wanted to say, you know, look how my orchid is bloomed here, and I'll take a photograph for the group of the other orchids, because when you keep plants and flowers in your house, they're responding to your energy. So that's really important. Obviously, they're letting off an energy, but they're responding to your energy as well. So I'm just going to read first card, which was Archangel Raguel, which was Divine Order. Now, I have had this card before. Suzie said, pull a card for yourself. It came through Divine Order, but let's see if my sisters resonate with this message as well here. Everything is how it needs to be right now. Look past the illusions and see underlying order. A win-win situation is brewing, one with solutions that are fair to everyone involved. This requires you to have blind faith that heaven is working behind the scenes to extract the highest good for all. Ask me to buoy your faith if it wavers. Now, Susie just mentioned faith, and use positive affirmations and prayers to keep your spirits high. Very interesting. I've just told you about doing the affirmations outside, but yesterday, as I said to the sisters backstage, I said Psalms 27 over some really spiritual, what I would say, root reggae music. And it was just a beautiful, I'm fasting and praying anyway in the morning. It was just beautiful. Okay, so use positive affirmations and prayers to keep your spirits high. Above all, make sure that your conversations about the situation involve positive and optimistic words and phrases. You're so powerful, your positive thoughts can speed this resolution along even quicker. So I think that's a fantastic message. So I give thanks that that's come through. Anything resonate with you there for that particular card, Divine Order?
Yeah, I think, that just sort of says it all, isn't it? Like, no matter where it is, everything's in the right as it should be. And it comes back to, like you say, finding the gift, the lesson, the gratitude in what is presenting. And like sometimes it does come with a processing as well, in that what comes up is an acceptance of maybe the way things are, and more it emphasizes how we would like to see it differently. So in choosing to focus on that and what we want to work towards in comparison or as an alternative is the focus. But I do think, I felt, I'm usually quite chirpy and lively, but I have felt this week it's been more about, going deeper into that emotion and really allowing it to process and work through and sort of sit with it, kind of like bringing me to a place of greater appreciation, especially when we all have events in our lives that may involve family members and certain things. So it's when it's close to home, it's not that you want to detach from it, or it's more difficult to detach, because anything that happens to anyone, we feel in the same way. But I think you have a greater level of experience, sort of entanglement with it, which kind of like seems to need to work out work its way out. If that makes sense. I don't know if that does.
It all makes sense, Layla. I mean, and when you talk about, family situations, which some are out of our control, and that's where we really start to dip in our own faith and our own belief. But like that card says, and I think we've all hit those times, I know I have in the past week, because I asked the question, am I in the right place? What am I doing? And it's keeping that up for yourself, because everybody hits that storm and we can see it all around us, yet we need to stand in our powerful place of who we are and keep believing. And sometimes, like Vanessa said, it is that blind faith, because we actually don't even realize we've got it, especially on those times when we're hitting that low. But I know I always go on about power of now, and I love how Vanessa says when you're out. Now, when I was out one day this week, I think I was struggling, because I do struggle. I think I still have trauma that still pops up. It reminds me, and it's normally to do with my breathing. And when I was out in nature, I was reminded of listen to the birds, how it fills you up. Watch the scenery around you that fills you up. Also the smells of it all, and it was reminding me again how powerful it is to be in the now, because I can smell in the now and it tops me up. I can hear in the now and it tops me up. So bring yourself back, like you said, feeling the ground, and it's like I go off on one, but it's coming to me. that this is what we need. Let the sun, let the energy of the sun really absorb it, and it doesn't matter if it's a minute or a second, but let it fill you up in that moment, because that is so needed right now. We forget, don't we forget, even when we're walking, because our mind is clouded us over to the past or the future. Yet if we're here and we take it in right away, the smells, the birds, everything is here to fill you up. We just don't realize it. But we're bringing it all back. It's giving us that awareness to bring it back to ourselves.
What I'd like to say, no, thank you for that. Even when we're in the now, when out in nature, and myself included, I'm not criticizing anyone, I think we should try and detach from technology, because you can be out in nature, but listening to either a podcast or, looking at some kind of social media on your phone, and you're missing the beauty of the surroundings of nature. You're missing the opportunity to tune in with the energy that's there in nature. So there was a time when I was deliberately not taking my phone, and I think I need to go back to doing that, actually, because as you said,
Vanessa,
appreciating it.
I never take my phone I never take my phone. If I'm walking the dog, I'm walking the dog. My focus is on the dog. I've never been one to listen to podcasts or anything out there, because I think we go into a world of listening to everybody else, and that swamps us down again. When you know that everything is with you, and it's really important.
That's the distraction.
Yeah, again, what you've just said, Vanessa, is so, so important for us all, for our own well-being, our own mental sanity. We need to get back to us. We need to get back to the true you. And that's when we have the distractions get louder, when we're not paying attention to this, to this, you know, how the flow, obviously there is ebbs in the flow of a conversation, only because of where our mind is, of where we are, where we want to take people is to that place of flow, and energy is flow.
So this is a good time for me to introduce the cards then that have come through today. Apologies to the viewers, particularly the regular viewers who are used to actually seeing me almost like, you know, do my intention and do the cards live, but I was just distracted and I just went with the flow. But we've got Beloved. Now, I can't remember if Beloved was with us directly last week. We have had Beloved on this call, and that's Archangel Jamil. I'm helping you with your spiritual soulmate relationship. It was last week, if you remember the conversation. Okay, so we'll come back to that one. And then we have Counselor, which is Archangel Azrael. You're a natural counselor, and many people benefit from your guidance and reassurance. That's really interesting. I've never pulled this card myself on a personal reading or any of the readings that I've done for people, and we've not had it in the show. So it's a first appearance for this card. And then I think we have a theme coming up, because the third card is relationship harmony, Archangel Raguel again. So remember, my card, Suzie said to pull divine order, was Archangel Raguel. So that's two strong, what I'd say, messages from Archangel Raguel. So that means that tune in with the energy of Archangel Raguel. Archangel Raguel is really trying to communicate with us. And the top headline here is, we angels are opening the hearts of everyone involved. Arguments and conflicts are now being resolved. So I'll come back to the deeper meaning, but I thought it was interesting to just bring those cards in now.
Thank you. You know, that there's a lot in there. When it does come back to relationships and harmony, again, as with others, as with yourself, it all starts from there. You know, it's something we always come back to. And I think the card you pulled about counselling and guidance for others, and what came up for me when you pulled that one out was just being true with ourselves, you know, about what we're experiencing. Like, others can relate to it then, and then we don't feel like so bad that we're going through something that, oh, you know, what's wrong with me? Like, it's just part of the cycle, isn't it? And finding ways to process it, and finding ways to work through it, and finding what works with us, but also expanding into that experimentation as well. You know, there's so many different ways and so many things that could work. And again, it comes back to that playfulness as well, isn't it? That even in those moments of kind of like a bit heavier and a bit more, you know, working through it, there's still an element of exploration that's open to us. And so I think that's exciting.
And yeah, Layla, what I wanted to add as well is about when we're talking about relationships, is the energy blend within the relationships, isn't it? Because, you know, you can be with somebody who is close to you in your life and you're vibing off their energy, but at the same time, you could have another, whether it's member of the family or whatever, and for some reason, there's just an energy clash. I mean, I've actually, my coach who I've been working with, he gave me a lovely little saying. When you feel, I know we're going to talk about the density of energy shortly, but he gave me a little saying that you can do to kind of cut the energy when you feel like it's getting too dense. So that's to cut it between yourself and another one, you know, someone close to you. And I have done that this week, but I'll probably tell you a bit more shortly. I think Suzie wants to come in.
No, I was just going to say to Layla, you know, when we have these conversations, they're lovely. We never, ever plan it, as in really plan it. We allow ourselves to organically say our truth. And it's really important that we do that. And I think Layla touched on something that I just wanted to say, that, you know, in these times, we forget what we truly love and have fun with it. That doesn't mean our head's in a mess or anything. It just means we're allowing ourselves, we're willing ourselves to come through this with that love and fun. And, you know, that's why I love hearing the kids in the background, Vanessa. They remind us of the moments, of the essence of how fun life can be, you know, jabbering around with a few pots and pans, and, you know, that fun element that really needs to be brought back into our lives, you know, of really embracing. And I always think colour does that for us, don't it? The oranges, the pinks, the yellow, just having fun with it, over Google or whatever, and just see what comes up. Don't be so hard on ourselves because something doesn't feel right, you know. And I think, like you said, in our society today, we're losing that truth, that true essence of who we are. And I think that's why it feels so much of a battle with ourselves when we come across this, because we're not hearing this on a full Richter scale that we need to hear, which will help us. We're listening more to the distraction of what doesn't feel true.
I agree with that. And this week, like I said, I feel like I have been working with this energy coming through with Lionsgate. I ended up being on a call with Denise. It wasn't planned to be a one-to-one, but I ended up having a one-to-one session with Denise, which was about cleansing the root chakra. And that was a beautiful call that we had. And I really want to thank Denise as well for her time in that session, because it was weird, even though I didn't have any expectations of the session, but then I realized that some of the things that were coming out from the session was about my own relationship. So it was interesting. And yeah, like I said, I agree with what you were saying there about the fun element, having the background noise of the children. It has been very uplifting for me. I'm not working intensely on anything at the moment, but when I am working and I can hear Zenta, for example, you know, even if he is in the cupboard, I just try and laugh it off, you know, because it's that exploration, it's the joy of him, you know, oh, well, what noise does this make? And, you know, what is that? And really sometimes just looking at him and studying, you know, his thought, I don't know his exact thought processes, but what his thoughts could be around what he is experiencing. So thank you for that, Suzie. And remember, it was your idea when I said, Suzie, I don't want to do it on a Sunday morning because I love Zenta. And you said, no, that's the whole point. We want to have children in the background and everything. So thank you for that.
I think that's what it comes down to, you know, it's about being real. Like I remember going out for a family meal one evening, and everyone was looking at us because we're taking young children with us, and it's like, well, if you're not supposed to go out with your children, then what are you supposed to do? You know, like, we need to be more accepting and inclusive and celebrating, you know, of children, youth and playfulness. So I don't know, that's just my opinion. But from what you were saying as well, like coming back to the distraction, what came to my mind was, yeah, it is. It's the illusion that's the distraction, isn't it? It's all those back to the things we need to do, the things, the way things should be, or you know, the way our obligations and duties and what we have to keep in place. And it's like, well, no, I think we're discovering a whole new way of doing something. And you do have to go through that discomfort, because it's like when you're creating or moving in a way that's unknown or new, it's finding about a new way to move, isn't it? Sort of finding your rhythm in that and finding your stability in that. So like I said, as the journey evolves and, you know, there is a shift, each new kind of like set point or station, or each new landing place is like, oh wow, you know, like, oh, something new to discover, something new to play with.
I agree. So let's bring in this card then from Archangel Chamil. Remember, the top line is I'm helping you with your spiritual soulmate relationship. But as you said last week, Layla, a relationship, we have to look at that in different ways. It's not necessarily a partnership, a love affair, that type of thing. The soulmate relationship. So, even within our community, we use, even within ourselves here, we use terminology as being sisters, soul sisters. Have either of you got any kind of experience of what you would describe as soulmate? So it doesn't necessarily have to be in that one-to-one intimate relationship.
I think soulmate, it's a term which means different things to different people, because everyone sort of attaches their own label to what that connection means. But for me, a soulmate can be anyone that you feel like a deep reference with or connection to. Sometimes where you just feel, oh wow, there's something here, and it doesn't mean it's a lifelong thing or one that's meant to be forever. I think different times, different periods, different lessons we're going to resonate with and come away as needed. So I think it is just connection. It's all about that connection you will feel with people. But again, I think that terminology, just for me, also brings me back into myself, because in thinking of a soulmate, you're going back through your own connection, aren't you, to who you're expanding to. So it's about having that in mind and being in tune with yourself, being in tune with your own divinity first and foremost, and how you connect out to others. I know that some also use soulmate as a twin flame and sort of romantic level, but again, I don't think that's always a romantic connection. I think some people, it may be their child, it may be their pet, it may be their someone in their life who's just got a deep resonance with. So
that's interesting
for us each to find.
Sorry, you're gonna have to excuse me because my granddaughter wants the toilet and I need to open the stair gate, so I'll have to do this shortly. So I'll hand it back over to my soul sisters while I'm not here. Thank you.
I love that, Layla, what you just said, because don't forget, we all have concepts and ideas of what a relationship is, of what a soul is, but it's all the same, but we have to get past our own illusions or our own bullshit that we tend to believe when it becomes relationships. Some people like different relationships, but we're all there for the norm that it's got to be 2 parents and 2.2. No, it's not. No, it's not. A relationship, a soul relationship, like you said, we get on together, we collaborate, we can talk, we can, this is a great example of all of us meeting up. We hardly know each other, yet we love these catch-ups because we are speaking our truth, we respect one another. It doesn't mean that you've got to go against me or anything, and even if you did, it's an open debate so we can chat about it. Gosh, isn't that better to live and work and breathe this way, rather than thinking, all right, I'm looking for such and such, there's too much searching, and I think that's where the hiccups become, don't they? Because we're forever searching. This is soul. No, this is a soul collaboration. This is what we love to do, because again, anybody listening and querying that soul relationship or soul friendship, or define what is a soul to you, because we have all these different concepts, different ideas of what we believe. Come out of that, open that new space and see what we mean by soul sister, soul brother. Everybody's a soul deep within. But do we believe that? Define it.
I love that. And I think what you touched on there as well is just, the labels or having fixed ideas of what everything means. And it's about, just expanding out of that. It's about that experience in itself without having to, judge it, label it, fit it into a certain dynamic. Everything is what you make of it. And I think that's what we learn with consciousness and perception, is the meaning that we attach to it.
But we forget that concept and ideas that we've created, believing that everything, a soul family is 2 parents and two kids. No, it's not. you've got to define it to what is right for you. But because you hear about it, or somebody says, oh yeah, I've got a long distance. Oh, well, how does that work? It works fantastic, thank you. Well, how does that work? I thought you've got to be in the same house and breathe it. No, you need space. Everybody needs space. When you have that space, you've got this great collaboration of souls uniting together and showing the world that we are united together, that we flow together, that we speak together. We just...
Fantastic. So I only caught half of that, but it all sounded great. So the deeper message is love is in and around you right now. You don't need to search for it. Rather, by holding loving thoughts and conducting loving actions, you attract and manifest love in all aspects of your life. So I think this is what you were touching on there. Call upon me. So this is Archangel Chamuel. Call upon me to guide your thoughts and actions to bring romance into your life. Converse with me regularly about your love life. I can help you to fall in love with your life and heal and manifest wonderful relationships. So I think that's what you were talking about. Like I said, I didn't hear all of it.
I love, what, coming back to the love thing, like I think that's something that Suzie always reminds us of as well, isn't it? Just we are love. Everything around us is love. That like we are enough as we are. That is it. It's coming back to the being. Just being what you put out. Having respect and that kind of appreciation in your interactions is what creates the experiences. So yeah, it's a perfect reminder that we are love.
Can I just move the conversation? It's still about dealing with distractions, but I just wanted to move the conversations to where we are within the critical thinking movement. And I personally feel that for some parts of the world, there seems to be a focus of action, whereas for other parts of the world, I don't know, but personally, where I am here in my city and in this country, I just feel like we're going around in circles. I can't really see what the intention is or what is being achieved. And I feel that there's a lot of distractions because there's still a lot of noise. I don't know how you feel about that.
I think it comes back to there's a period of maybe confusion. That's one of our words we come through, chaos and confusion. When you've got a dismantling or a falling away of a structure and a system which has been long established in that, and then trying to find a new way of being, new way of doing. There's lots of ideas, there's lots of energy, but it takes time for that to come from, that place of creation into actual reality. And it needs the action and kind of like coordinated collaborative action with people working on the same page towards a common goal. But I think that takes time, especially when we're still in a dynamic where some are very aware and of what's going, some are still, everyone's at a different place. It hasn't just like, oh, everything's dropped all in one go. So I think it does feel, or it can feel a little disjointed at times, but then depending on where you look and where you focus, there are pockets of real focused action and sort of movement to create changes or new ways of being. So again, I think it just depends on where your focus is, and yeah, it may not seem like that across the board, but it's a ripple effect. It's something we often talk about. The momentum has to build. It's starting, the sort of the snowball's working its way. But that's what I want to focus on. It's on its way, it's coming. And the more we look for it, the more we contribute to it, the more we see evidence of it.
Well, thank you for that reassurance, Layla, because like you said, I feel that what we're doing with the Vibrate Higher community, obviously we're building our momentum. We've got more women coming into the group every day, which is great. We are actually working on our third workshop, how to represent yourself. And my sisters here on the call haven't actually seen the promotional page that I've written, so I'm going to show that to you afterwards because it's nearly there. So we will be launching that promotional page hopefully this week. To tell you more about it. We've got our speakers lined up, and there's actually some research work that you can do before joining that workshop as well. So I'm confident that this workshop is going to really help any woman who really wants to find out some solutions and start moving things forward. But yeah, there is focused work, but I just feel that there is a lot of, well, I would say there seems to be a lot of gatherings. Oh, come on this protest, come on that protest. But there's so much to protest about, which I do agree with what Layla just said, that, you know, the old system is falling. So of course, because there's a crumbling, you're going to get people with new ideas and things like that. But because there's so much there, I feel that it can be easy for people to lose their focus, because you then, like, everything becomes a priority.
And I think in reality, like Layla said, I think if we come back to our reality and think about right from the beginning of this, I'm going to say it again, I've never really gone on about the pandemic or anything. What I see is just an increase in fear and anxiety, and that seems to be breeding really, really high at the minute. So I always said right at the beginning, even when I did all these self-care talks online last year, that it's really important that we focus on ourselves, but focus on where this anxiety and fear is coming from, and challenge that, because what we're doing is breeding more fear and anxiety, because nobody's feeling in control of their lives. No one feels safe. And you know what, if you are speaking to a lot of people that have had to isolate themselves and they don't feel safe inside their body and they don't feel the world safe, what are we going to expect? You know, what are we going to expect in a world that seems to be crumbling around everybody, and people are feeling devastated by choices that they've got no control of, you know? And then you've got families that are suffering in their own pain, and they are being distracted. They're not going to think of anything else apart from where they are. And that's a big challenge for people. So what I see and what I witness on a daily basis is everybody's going back to survival mode. You know, they're just reaching out to survive at this present moment. And that is really difficult place to be in. You know, we touched on it. There's so much dense energy as well as what's coming to vibrate. And luckily, topics like this will help people see their truth and know it's okay what they feel. It's okay to feel what they're feeling, but there is a lot of density. And I reckon it's all to do with feeling out of control and not feeling safe. And I'll always say that because I do believe there is, we're not seeing it all. There is a lot of truth being out there, but there's also that density, which is driving people to that survival mode where they don't know whether they're going to sink, swim or what. But that's my take on this.
Yeah, I think what you've sort of brought up there, Susie, is for everyone, the situation is taking everyone out of their comfort zone, because everything is unpredictable. No one knows where it's going. And having been in a, you know, like a structure which was very predictable and very thingy, to then go into a place where, oh, anything's possible, you know, what do you want to create? Is that, you know, where do you start? Like, well, I don't know. We've never had that sort of opportunity to go that big, you know. And I think for some, that in itself is a learning curve, because it's about really knowing yourself. Right, okay, who am I? What do I want? You know, what is important? Where can I take this? Where do I want to take this? What do I see for my future and generations to come? So yeah, I think it's that place of, it's that transition, isn't it? It's that in between, that void where everything's in flux, but it's possible.
And then the few that you feel that are following their truth and following what they believe in, they're being typecasted as selfish. Come on, you know, and that's not right. So that's going to dent their subconscious mind, because they're thinking, I'm going to keep doing this. I keep doing it. I don't care who's around me. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it. And, you know, you may think, where's our background? If you want to talk about density, I come from a family that didn't want me, that didn't love me. How can I produce so much love if nobody wanted me? If nobody wanted me or loved me for all those years that I was growing up, all those important years where I wasn't encouraged, where I wasn't wanted, the words were dense, there was alcohol, there was abuse. How the hell can I stand here and tell you guys, do it? Because I believe in something. I believe in something, even if the word is love. I believe in it that much, you know, that, you know what, nothing's going to topple you down. Believe in it, because that's what we're lacking, the belief. And sometimes you don't have to believe in it. Listen to people that can inspire you and get you off your arse and think to yourself, you're right. I didn't have XXX, but you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to prove it to me. You know, all my life I've probably been a sheep that's not meant to be seen, heard, or supported. But you know what? I'll prove you wrong. I'll prove you wrong, because in my heart, I know there's something bigger, and that's what I reach for. And, you know, at the end of the day, we all have to believe in something. So believe in that greatness which is within you, because that is where we're going. That is what we're after. That is what's going to change these ideas, concepts. But because we're all so different, we want to follow some kind of norm. We'll follow that great within you, because that's what's going to be channeling whatever's happening in your life.
Okay. I was clicking away. That was fantastic, Susie. Thank you. I heard a phenomenal woman, Karen Brewer in New Zealand, who is basically, no matter what, encouraging the ASDAC community to make a stand, whereby there's no banners, there's no yak yak. It's just make yourself seen in the relevant places on Tuesday, the 31st of August. So I'm saying that shout out. I know we haven't got an international community yet, but I'm just saying that shout out because I want to support this movement. I think this is a brilliant time to bring in the second message from Archangel Azrael, which is counselor. And I feel that this will build on the words that Susie has just shared with us. You are a natural counselor, and many people benefit from your guidance and reassurance. Your life purpose involves counseling people in ways that uplift, motivate, comfort, heal, and inspire. You're a true spiritual counselor. Okay, yeah, it's fine, darling, it's fine. You're a true spiritual counselor, and people find you to be trustworthy and confident. Sorry, to be a trustworthy confidant. Sorry. Expand your counseling work to the next level, because you're about to help greater numbers of people. Call upon me for guidance and support. That's Archangel Azrael. So I feel, you know, going back to Karen Brewer, what she said in one of the messages this week was about your own moral compass. And going back to what Susie has said, it is about you resonating with your truth. So even though you may feel that the energy around you is quite negative, not wanting you to be seen or heard, or if you're feeling that actually something's not right here, and I don't actually agree with certain things that I'm seeing in the mainstream, then you have a right to stand in your own power. And for us within our community, I feel that this is what we are encouraging. Not to say that women in our community weren't doing that anyway, they were doing that, but doing it together. It's almost like it's that collective consciousness of the divine sovereignty of saying, no, this is what we're doing. And our focus within the group, you know, we do self-care activities every single week, even though we've only just started. I'm loving it. I'm loving the uplifting. We're seeing so many beautiful examples of the divine being true to themselves, you know? So this week we've focused on nature, and we've had some beautiful photographs that come through. Next week, we're going to focus on music and movement, because it is all about raising our vibration, or raising your vibration as an individual soul. Layla, did you want to come in on any of that?
I've been loving the weekly focuses and that, because, you know, it is that engagement, it's that accountability, and it's in that sharing things where you know, the magic happens. It's in that appreciation of each other as well. So yeah, I'm really loving it, and I'm looking forward to Movement Week. I love my music and dance. Sorry, that was a bit loud.
Yeah, movement week is going to be great. But, you know, let's just tune in again with the message, Archangel Azrael. Find ways that uplift, motivate, comfort, heal, and inspire. So,
Yeah.
you know, I feel that as a collective, we have our gifts, and this combined consciousness, combined working in collaboration as co-creators, is creating something very unique. And, you know, I'm hoping women who are already inside the community, who are participating in the self-care activities, can feel that this is very different to what you're going to get in another Telegram group. And, you know, this week I've had to delete 2 posts, because, not to say that that information is not valid, but that is, our space isn't the right space to communicate those thoughts. We want really uplifting, anything that's going to, as the words have said, uplift, inspire, and motivate.
And I think that's it, you know, it's not about ignoring what's going on in the world, but it's about choosing where you focus. And I think that's, you know, very much what, you know, try to create in that space, is a space where the focus is on, right, what are we working towards? I think there's so much going on. We're all aware of the stories and things, and you know, that kind of thing. And it is the continuing distraction. And like I said, not about ignoring it, it's about accepting it, giving it gratitude, transmuting, transforming. But yeah, I think what are we working towards? That's what it comes back to.
Sorry, I just had to dash off quickly because I wanted us to go into our bending light section. Because I feel that we're at a good time to do that. Now, I don't have a tambourine this week, but I hope, you might not be able to hear this. Just one moment. I'm going to take my headphones out. 1 minute. This is the theme tune. We always have to have fun on this program. I'm sorry, this is about raising your vibration. Okay, so that neatly brings us into our next section, which is bending light. So, can we just do a recap, Layla? Because last week we introduced it onto the call. We need to think about how we're going to engage women in the group to do this. So we're going to have you think about, so this is a collective consciousness, we're going to think about one area together. What do you think there, Layla?
Yeah, that's it. You know, one specific either event or a situation or occurrence that's happening, it could be around the world, that we want to transmute and transform, you know, to release their roles and let them go. I don't know.
I've got a suggestion. Maybe because I've been so inspired by Karen Brewer in New Zealand. I would like to suggest, because the 1st of August isn't that far away, because we are focusing on our individual selves. Oh, it's just not that xylophone thing. I would like to encourage the women in our group to put our focus over to our brothers and sisters in New Zealand, Australia. It's called a stag, but I don't know what the last element stands for. I'll find out. I would like us to put our energy and our focus over there. And off camera, I'll tell you more why. If that sounds good with you, Layla, just to start us off, and then we can put it to the group.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what's the background there then. So what is the situation, and what are we transforming? Who are the key players? What are we?
So the situation is that Karen Brewer is basically encouraging individual men and women to take themselves to their local, we would call it a council house. So to the council house in the area that they live in on Tuesday, the 31st of August from 9 o'clock. But the actual vibration of this collective gathering is different. Karen's message is there is going to be no banners. There is going to be no yak yak. So that's no speeches. It's not about putting anybody on a pedestal. Oh, look what I'm doing. Because within this critical thinking movement, even myself, I feel that there are some people who've become kind of like celebrities over the last year or so. Okay. It's not about showcasing any one particular voice or any one particular, sorry, Santa's literally messed about with my lighting there. Any one particular topic. Of course, we know that there's a lot of topics. Then the intention is, now this is where I need to get my head around what Karen's saying. There seems to be some kind of document that has been brought to light in, I don't know if it was Australia or New Zealand, but it's being held back from the public. So Karen's message is that document needs to be shared and it needs to be released unredacted, because this document is going to literally unlock a lot of keys and doors. Then she's got some other ideas in terms of what is going to happen afterwards, which I won't go into right now because I need to get my head around it. But what I'm saying is, if you think about what she's proposing, and I've got some lighting effects going off here. And outside the Governor General's house. So this is really important. We're now reaching a point in this situation where we know that control is being literally led by minority. Okay, the minority have taken the control from the people, and they're basing decisions on things that we now know not to be true. Okay, so there is oppression going off, there is tyranny going off. So this is where Karen is encouraging people power, the collective consciousness to stand in silence and use our energy. So really ties into what we're saying in our talk today. Use our collective energy and our collective thoughts to be there. So if you can imagine outside the council house, if you can have 40,000 people walking up, or even 1 million people walking up and down London on a Saturday, when these so-called people in power aren't even there, if you've got 1 million people in London to stand outside the Parliament in silence, that is a powerful energy that's going to be transmuted to do what it needs to do. So that's the essence of Karen's message. I'm still getting my head around the details.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Right, okay, I think you've given us enough to work on. So we'll start with that. So the first part of the process will be to start with the gratitude to those players who are involved. So we'll refer to them as the controllers, or the old establishment, or the old guard, to those who were seeking to maintain control. Thank you. Thank you for the role you've played. Thank you for showing us what would have been had that control continued and tightened. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to find our own strength, to find our own courage, to find our own sovereignty, to stand in our own power. Thank you for giving us this experience to realize the core of who we are, the core of our divinity, to empower us, to work collectively, to come together. Thank you for showing us ways of being creative, of finding ways to stand up to this individually and uniquely. Thank you for bringing it to light, you know, what happens when we let our guard down, when we don't maintain our awareness, when we don't question what's happening around us. Thank you for reminding us that, you know, we are the people we've been looking for. The power lies within us. Thank you for bringing that focus and direction back to that. So that's where my gratitude would be. The next step in the process would be to offer love. So we love you. We love you for the role you've played. We love you for what you've done to show us this. We love you for the experience you've offered us. We've loved in knowing the core of who you are, your soul divinity, that we are the same. Much love and gratitude for what you have brought to us. The next step in this is compassion. So for those who are playing those roles, it comes with the realization that that is their way of life, that is their symbol. So they're maintaining what they believe to be true. So to all those who have played those roles, I can't imagine how difficult it must be to go against the core of your divinity, the core of love, to stand in that and to create those experiences for others. I understand it's your survival that you're trying to maintain. It's your way of life. It's the way you know things to be. I understand it may be you and your family you feel are at risk or are trying to protect or are trying to maintain a life for. So I relate to that with much compassion, with much love, with much comprehension of the circumstances you're in. I too have been in those circumstances where I've made decisions that I thought I needed to, that were the only choice I had. In reflection, I realized it was not the case, but at the time I could see no other way. We've all been in that survival mode where we've made decisions because we just need to get them what we need in that moment. But I've also realized that there is another way, that when we take a step back, there are other opportunities, that when we just follow love, everything falls into place. No one is harmed, no one has to suffer, no one has to win and create a loser. Everyone can be equally beneficial, everyone can equally have a good experience. But it's about seeing each other for who we are, seeing each other for what we are, appreciating each other, appreciating where we're coming from, and then finding a way that we can work where no one has to suffer, no one comes to harm. So thank you, with compassion and understanding of that, your heart, where you're at. I relate, I appreciate it. But then the last stage of this is where we stand. So how do we want to transform it? How do we transmute it? So with all that has happened, with all that's occurring, thank you for what you've done, but your role is no longer required. Look that you've taught us how to stand in our power. Look that you've taught us our divinity. Look that you're bringing us together. You can now relax, take a step back and release it, let go, and let the goodness that is meant to be just take its course and be a part of it. You're not excluded. Everyone can be a part of it. So thank you for that role. But it is no longer required, and we are now moving in a new direction. So please join us. No one is excluded. Everyone's welcome to be a part of it. For whatever roles you've played, whatever will take its course as it needs to be, for whatever lesson needs to be experienced on each side. We are now moving forwards in creating a place of love, of collaboration, of unity, of truth and honesty, where what has been hidden will come to light. It can't be stopped. Everyone will know, everyone will be aware, and it will empower everyone. It will be what everyone can, it will be what everyone has been waiting to see, and knowing and feeling that discordance and bringing it to light. It can be opened and released and make way to pave the foundation for the new that is to come, for what's going to be created in collaboration, in unity, in fun, in love, and a new way of being. I say new way, it is the core of who we are and how we were always meant to be, but it's bringing it into this reality here and now. So with gratitude, with love, here's to the future, here's to us all standing together with support for the energetics, for all that take a stand, to be supported, to have that courage. You take one step and the universe will come to support you in fullness. So thank you. Sorry, I went on a bit there, but
no, it was just so powerful, so powerful. And what I want to do, I know that it's like another monologue section for you, but stay with us, because if you really meditate on the words that we're saying, and this section, Bending Light, is about us using our collective consciousness to really, Suzie reminded us at the beginning of the call, you are powerful. Step into your power. Release
and I'm hoping,
fear.
Yeah.
Carry on, Layla.
Sorry, Vanessa, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You were on a roll there. You were
No, because I would have gone off on one anyway.
I'll let you get back to it. But what I wanted to say is, please, I'm asking everyone, let me know, what are your gratitudes? What do you see in this situation? What is the compassion you feel? How can you relate to the players in this? How do you see, how do you want to transform it? What do you see it coming out? So even though I've given a demonstration of what was coming to my heart at the time, it's for everyone to put that in. It's for everyone to put that energy of love, of gratitude, of compassion, and your vision for the future. So please.
And just to say, Layla, what it is, Layla, as well, I would just say the first parts I really related with, I will say I struggled a bit with the compassion, but that's where I need to build on that compassion. So I'll hand it over to Suzie.
Layla, I totally loved what you said. Every word was resonating in my body, and it'll be resonating in everybody's body, because don't forget, you've displayed that message in just the way it was meant to be. And we will all relate to it. We will all relate with it. We can all resonate with it. Yes, compassion can be difficult. I believe in that, but we've all been in situations where we've had that compassion. Just emphasize on it a bit more. But that was beautiful, Layla.
Okay, so in closing, I believe that Archangel Raguel, remember, Archangel Raguel was with us at the beginning. Here's my distraction, because he's trying to get into the cupboard and I just won't let him. I put something there. Archangel Raguel, no, 1 minute, baby. You're not going in there. Archangel Raguel's come back with the second message, relationship harmony. So let's set our intention to have a relationship harmony with our oppressors. Okay, so this is building on what Layla has just said to us. I'm just gonna have to see to him. Let me just see to him. Hold that thought. I will be back half a second. So
just until until Vanessa comes back. Well, as Vanessa said, compassion is sometimes the most difficult part, but for me, I will manage to sort of go deeper into that when understand that a lot of people possibly who have come into that lifestyle or that positions have actually suffered a lot of trauma or coercion, manipulation, blackmail, or whatever circumstances themselves, and it is for their own survival. So survival makes people do things that when you're in that way, we can't see another way, you just have to get by. So I think there is always a way to relate it, and it doesn't mean that it makes it right, it doesn't mean that it makes it okay, that people do that, but it's just having that comprehension that we're all human. I think we're all trying to do the best where we are at any point in time.
That's very true, Layla. We all do the best for what we know and how we take things forward. But for me, I guess it's all about look at the times that it was all good. It was just flowing. Do you know what I mean? Everything felt as if it was flowing, but it wasn't. And now it seems as if it's falling apart. But what if it falls good? We need that. We need that.
Sorry, I didn't hear a word that you said because I was with little ones. But interestingly, Suzie, I was wondering, I wonder what people were actually doing. So when I say people, like even within our collaboration, what you were all doing before 2020. It was a question I was intending to ask you. So let me just share this before these little ones, because they're obviously losing their patience with me. Relationship harmony is going down quickly. So the first message says, we angels are opening the hearts of everyone involved. Arguments and conflicts are being resolved now. So from an energetic space, we know that source energy has already won this spiritual battle. We know that anyway. We know that we're literally just kind of working through the last physical parts of it. Okay. So your prayers for personal peace have been answered. And you are to be commended for your role in ushering peace into the situation. So I believe that we all want peace in our own way. You know, whatever decision you have chosen over the last 18 months or so, you want in peace to this situation. So visualize everyone involved, including yourself, being cooperative and open-minded, even if particular persons are not usually this way. Plus the inner guidance you receive, and know that the changes are sometimes uncomfortable, often necessary. So again, Layla and Suzie have said, we are going through such a change, an energetic change, a physical change in the sense of things that you know to be true, you're now knowing are not true, so you're unlearning a lot of things. It is going to cause a shift. Okay, but it is necessary. We do need to go through this. Okay, so ask me to help you with any aspects of relationships that need healing. Know that all relationships ultimately have blessings, growth lessons, and love at their core, even if appearances seem otherwise. So, you know, Layla took us right into that. That transmutation, what we're doing for the Bending Light, is particularly for those, our brothers and sisters in Australia and New Zealand, who are going to literally, as Karen Brewer said in one of her videos, they are going to look, don't want to say the word, but they're going to look evil in the face. You know, they're going to stand there and they're going to hold that. Okay. And they're going to face up to it.
But sorry, Vanessa, if I could just come in, I think it's about taking back your power in knowing that no one has power over you. That's what the switch is.
Yes,
So.
Exactly, Layla. I love it. I love it. So the final thought, stay focused upon this truth as much as possible. You couldn't make it up. You couldn't make it up. You know, this is what we're saying. And as a quick reminder, the third workshop is how to represent yourself. We have a documentary in there. It's been put together by one of our contributors, Carl, and the documentary is called Switching Perceptions, which is what Layla's just talking about. No one has any power over you. The power is within you. You have to be able to just literally connect with your divine power and also release your fear and anxiety, as Suzie has been mentioning, in this particular situation, and know that you will be supported. Whatever your choices, so we're not having any judgment or any criticism for people's choices, you will be supported in your choices. Final thoughts, my sisters, and then we will close today's wonderful conversation.
Well, just following what you were saying, my final thought was, and it's sort of leading on from what you were saying, in that when we hold an expectation of people, you know, everyone's going through a transformative on whichever side or whatever role they're playing. So just because someone's always been a certain way, it doesn't mean there's not scope for them to change and evolve, and that. So just hold that light, you know, that expectation of the divinity, of the goodness in everyone, because everyone has that.
And I'll just kick in with that. Believe in the greatness within you. Because even if you can't believe in something, something's leading you. And the difference now is so more people are aware of it. So this conversation may trigger a few of you to believe it, but define what you believe and why, and take yourself that step further. You haven't got to do anything. Everything is here for you. Just see through the perceptions, through the illusions, what we are seeming to believe in, and take yourself to a step further in believing into your greatness. Because it's all about that energy, like we said right at the beginning. Be present with it and allow it to flow through you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, sisters. We're closing the show because the little ones definitely need nanny and mammy. All right, love and light, and thank you for tuning in to all of our viewers. Thank you. And oh, don't forget to like and subscribe, and please share. Please share. Bye.